Hello and welcome to episode 40 of the Knitting Pickle podcast. 40 feels like a big one, doesn't it? Welcome, happy November. My name is Laura Penrose and I'm a knitwear designer and content creator, and I am here with a podcast for you today. I hope you're ready to get cozy because I've got lots of lovely little projects to show you, loads of whips, a couple of FOs and some future plans. So shall we get stuck right in? I think this is going to be maybe a long one, I'm not too sure. I can never really tell how it's going to go. So where are we at? First of all, what I'm wearing. I am wearing my Midland cardigan, which if you've watched me before, you may or may not recognise. This is a sideways construction garter stitch cardigan that is being released in January. Finally! My testers are doing such a good job. It's been challenging. We had some major issues. Basically, I overgraded the sleeves. They were far too small and they had to be regraded, and the armhole had to be regraded for some of the sizes, which meant a few people had to start again. So the deadline has been extended to accommodate. So yeah, we're looking like an end of January release for the Midland cardigan, which is super exciting. But if you can't wait until the end of January for some Midlandy goodness, then just you wait. There's more coming your way very, very soon. So I'm going to start off with my little release announcement, just to let you guys all know. I have already released this pattern. It went live on Instagram. Well, it went live on Instagram. Live on It went live on Ravelry and my website yesterday, which I shared on Instagram. I did try to do a community post here on YouTube, but it wouldn't let me do it. So I thought, well, this is a good way to get me to film this podcast because I've wanted to film a podcast for ages, but I've been really, really busy. My computer broke a week ago and I was basically without it for a week, which was awful. Ended up having to buy a new one, so please don't skip the ads. Yeah, I've just been majorly put behind, and I really wanted to get a podcast out for the release before the end of the To Me From Me Mal and before Vlogmas. I'll try not to say it too many times. So yes, the release. The Maxine sweater is now available for you to purchase. I've got one of my samples here. There are two samples and I go in super in depth into this design in the last episode. In episode 39, I'm wearing it throughout. I talk all about it. So I'm not going to go on and on about it today, but just to give you a quick preview if you haven't seen this design yet. It is a circular yoke colourwork sweater. Have I got my hot water bottle with me? Yes, I do. Based off of my hot water bottle design that came out this time last year. There's the full version and the mini version, and now you can have a jumper to match your hot water bottle or a hot water bottle to match your jumper. Who knows? I say fully embrace it and let's be extra AF. So thank you to everyone who's already supported the pattern, who have purchased it, who shared it, who've just visited the Ravelry page. It's all super, super helpful. And I did a launch discount over on Instagram. I'm aware that this is going to be being posted a few days later, so I am going to extend the deadline, the cutoff point for the discount code for you guys here on YouTube. So the discount code is Maxine, that's it, M-A-X-I-N-E, and that will get you 10% off both the sweater and the hot water bottle pattern on Ravelry and my website. And it's supposed to be running until Saturday, but I'm going to extend it to Wednesday. So hopefully you'll see this before then and you can make use of the discount. So there we go, Maxine sweater has been released out into the world and it went really well, it went really smoothly. I can't quite believe it. Like, no hitches, no problems with promotions, got everything done, didn't forget to do anything. Madness. I'm getting quite good at this. So yeah, I'm glad that that's a big thing ticked off my list because I have been a busy bee. I've gone from not being able to handle more than one project at a time to having 3, technically now 4 pretty major things on the go. So it's nice to relieve the workload a little bit, and I'm not gonna immediately replace that with something, though my garment designing juices, why does that feel wrong, are flowing, and I'm really, really in the mood for lots more garment design last year. I didn't realise until the Maxim release that I hadn't released a garment in a year. Craziness. Let's move on from the sales pitch and get into the projects, shall we? I've got some finished objects, some things you have not seen, some things you may have seen, and we're quite accessory strong at the moment, but it's the time of year, isn't it? It suddenly got cold. Everyone's like, oh, I've lost one of my gloves. Oh no, that hat is too itchy. Oh, I'd like to make a little something for so-and-so for Christmas. So it's all about the accessories at the moment, I think. And to kick that off, I'm going to show you a very, very special whip that I've not shared here on Instagram. I've shared it. I've not shared here on YouTube, but have shared it on Instagram. And I had to begrudgingly take this off my husband today because it was his birthday last weekend. We went to the Lake District and it was stunning. And I have made him a scarf. He used to have a bright red barber scarf that I bought him to go with his barber coat. But unfortunately it got eaten by little mothies and he really missed it and he loved his bright red scarf, so I thought I'm just going to make him a bright red scarf, and that's exactly what I did, and here it is. It comes across quite orange on camera, but it's definitely red in real life. An orangey red, yes, but still that kind of bright poppy red. And I finished it off with a little trimmy tassel-y guy just to mimic his old scarf that he had. The yarn that I used for this is something very, very special because he is a very, very special man. It's Cardiff Cashmere Classic. And this is the first kind of like full project I've done in just one strand of pure cashmere. And my goodness, it's such a pleasure. It's so, so wonderful. I used 5 balls exactly for this. I just had a little weensy bit left over, and I'll tell you about how I like planned that all out earlier. So yes, it was an expensive scarf to produce, but if you were to buy a cashmere scarf, you'd be paying much more than the £70 I paid for the yarn. And this was his main present. Like, we don't go mad for birthdays and stuff, and I got him like an LP as well. But the main thing was like the thought and the story behind this, and it's also super luxury. He wears scarves like in the house outside. He likes to just have them, when he's inside, he just likes to have them around his neck like that. And I asked him about that and I'm like, is it a fashion choice? Is it what? He's like, no, it's because my neck gets cold. And I was like, what? He's like, I don't have hair on the back of my neck like you do. The back of my neck gets cold. So that's why he just has it draped over. And obviously when it's really cold, he'll go all the way round. But it's nice to see him with his lovely handmade cashmere scarf on. And on the last night of our little trip away, we were in a restaurant, and as we were leaving, he put his scarf around his neck, and the waitress who was just like taking the payment was like, oh, I love your scarf. And I was like, oh. She was like, why are you getting so excited? And I was like, oh, I made it. So it was lovely to see that it looks good enough to be complimented for just a plain scarf. I loved working on this. I enjoyed it so much. Like, I can't even begin to tell you. It was the simplest, easiest, most mindless, most enjoyable thing I've knit in a long time. I didn't follow a pattern because why would I need to? Although if you wanted to follow a pattern for a scarf like this, you could get the Vienna set by Petite Knit, which has a scarf and mittens. I highly recommend that pattern. I love that pattern. I've knit the mittens so many times. But it's at a much smaller, well, it's not a much smaller gauge. I think it's at 3.5mm needles. It uses the same yarn, but it's at a tighter gauge and it's got a lot more stitches. And I had an element of time against me for this. I needed to work through it much quicker. So what I did was on 4mm needles with one strand of Cardiff Cashmere Classic, which I would say is sport weight-ish, could go either way depending on the project you're working on. But on 4mm needles, it did give a light and airy fabric, but not super see-through. But also because I worked it in the round, it's double-sided, it's double thickness. The see-through lightness of one piece of fabric isn't visible because you've got 2 layers of the fabric. So I just cast on 70 stitches. I can't remember the length of my my needle, but it was a comfortable length for me to work. The stitches filled it up beautifully. So it was 70 stitches for me, but you could go for 60, you could go for 80, like whatever. And I just knit. I just knit and knit and knit and knit and knit and knit and knit in the round, and it was so much fun. I took this with me to my friend's wedding, to lovely Sophie, the Knit Pearl girl, got married not last weekend, the weekend before, and she asked us all to bring a project to the wedding, which we did, which was excellent. But we also had a night in an Airbnb the night before where lots of knitting happened. So I did a lot of this during that time. So not only does it like make me think of my husband, and I mean technically it's his, but I will be borrowing this. It also reminds me of that little time away in that event, so that's lovely. And so I just cast on, like a normal cast on, and then I cast off, normal cast off, and then I used a crochet hook to go through each of like the cast on stitch and the opposite bind off stitch, from using a crochet hook from the back to the front, picked up my little strand of yarn, pulled the loop through, and then pulled the ends through that loop to make a little tassel that looks like this. So you can see here where that's like the loop that you pull through first. And it closed it off completely, really nicely, neat on both sides, I think. And what that also means is, if there's ever like a hole or something that I need to fix, I can remove the tassels, and then I've got my open tube which I can then go into and do my sewing and fixing. But also, if there ever was a major issue, I could just unpick a row and then graft it back together in a circle. You might see it, but in the end it's a scarf. It doesn't really matter. How long did I know how to knit it? Well, for some reason, I have this random piece of knowledge in my head that a scarf should be as long as you are tall. My husband and I are roughly the same height, about 170 centimeters, which is about 66, 67 inches. And I also referenced some of his other scarves, which were around the same length. And because he likes to wear it like this, like when he's standing up, you don't want it like flopping down over your legs. You don't want it to be too long. But of course you want to be able to, you know, wrap it around nicely like this, give it a bit of a pull. And I also really like it when I see people wearing a scarf like folded in half, wrapped around, and then that bit goes through there. Like, I always think that looks like really like classy and like, I don't know, I just love it. So it's more than long enough to do that. I think in the end I knit it to 55 inches, and then I put the tassels on my cast on end and weighed how much yarn I needed for the tassels. I then separated off that much yarn for my second load of tassels. I cut them to length. To do the tassels, I just like wrapped it round my hand like this over and over and over and over and over again, and then cut along one side. So I had loads of pieces of yarn that were all roughly the same length, and it was like consistent. So I separated off the tassels, and then I just knit until I got to the end of my 5th ball. I also blocked it, like steam blocked it at about 55 inches because I knew it was going to grow quite a lot in length. I didn't want it to be too long, and it did grow loads and loads and loads. So I think I only ended up knitting about 56, 57 inches, and then I got the other like 10 inches just from blocking. So it was magical, and yeah, I'm really pleased with it. My husband wears it all the time, and it's just one of those classic pieces, classic gift. I've told him he has to take care of it, and I think it's just such a good, it's a great gift, but also such a lovely knit. I really, really enjoy knitting it. I cannot express how much I enjoyed it. Just that, it was like doing a giant sock, but less fiddly. So I would like to make another one of these, probably not in cashmere. I would like to use some stash, but I'd like to make a scarf for my dad for Christmas, because he's had, I've done him a hat, I've done him gloves, I've done him a hot water bottle. I did him like a cowl, but he found it awkward to wear, so he gave it me back. Typical dad. But he hasn't got a scarf, and so I'm either going to make him one like this, or I might do a brioche scarf, because I've got a real hankering for brioche. Then it will just be like back and forth brioche until I get it as long as it needs to be, and that'll be a good stash user. So that's my first finished object. My second, sorry about the sun by the way, it is winter. I might have to, I've got my big mirror like blocking the sun, so maybe I need to shift it along a little bit. There we go. And let's see if my tea is cool enough to drink. Treated myself to my winter transitional mug. It's not quite a Christmas mug, but it's winter vibes, so it's okay. We have been blessed with a few days of beautiful snow. It's been such a gorgeous autumn, such a long autumn. Normally autumn gives up around November and it's just grey until it gets cold. But this year the leaves have been just incredible, and then all of a sudden it snowed, and there's this weird, like, it's autumn and winter, there's snow and there's red leaves. It's just been amazing. So my next finished object was a little something for myself, and this also brings us nicely into the To Me From Me Mal. I've been working on a number of different things for the To Me From Me Mal, most of which I haven't finished, but that's okay. You don't have to finish your own mal. But I do technically have a finished object, and that is this gorgeous pair of mittens that I made for myself. I have needed a pair of mittens for a long time. I bought myself a very special yarn, and I made these in a day on ready for bonfire night, in fact. Literally one day done, but I literally spent the whole day sitting in bed knitting. It was fantastic. And the reason this brings me nicely into the To Me From Me Mal as well is because this yarn is stunning. It's the Woolly Mammoth Fibres Natural DK, which is limited edition base, and it's also eco-dyed, meaning meaning Emma used flowers from her dye garden and like placed them on the skeins and then just like leaves them, and those flowers dye the yarn and give this incredible speckle. These ones are mainly like pink and green, but you can see they've both got this little cluster of blue that happened, which I absolutely love. So, so sweet. And I bought all this yarn myself. It's not sponsored, it's not gifted, all paid for by me. And I bought 2 more skeins of it to give away for the mal, and I've got them right here. See, they're just so fun. They're so gorgeous. This one is Firecracker, and it's very yellow and pink and purple. And this one is Raspberry Crumble, which is, again, the similar colours, but a bit more heavy on the yellow. Now, I can't remember, did I show these in my last podcast? I can't remember if I showed these in my last podcast or on Instagram or not, but either way, there you go. These are up for grabs, and you can be in with a chance to win these if you are. Go over to Instagram, share a picture of your To Me From Me Mal project, and use the hashtag TMFMMal. And that's the prize draw just for whips. There's also a prize for finished objects, and there's also a prize for my Patreons as well. So yes, I'm so pleased with them. The yarn is gorgeous. I love the way they look. However, I made them a bit too big. I just made this up. I've been making a lot of fingerless mittens recently, and I kind of based it on that, but I definitely needed to make them smaller. I also added a couple of stitches in because I was worried about them being too small, because I don't like it when mittens are tight to your hand and you lose that kind of nice round shape. It kind of pulls in, but I just went a bit too far, and they're like fine like this. They technically fit my hand really nicely. They are the size of my hand and they're lovely. However, when I actually wear them, they just end up like sliding up my hand and just being loose and baggy. And I think that is for 2 reasons. 1, they are too big, and 2, because they don't have the rib here to hold it to the arm, it means they move up, and the cuffs of my coat aren't tight enough to hold them down either. So I think if you are going for this type of glove without a rib here, you need to make sure that they are slightly negative ease, because I think mittens grow a lot with wear anyway. They just do. And I was wearing these yesterday on the schoolroom when it was really, really cold, and I could feel the cold air blowing right through them. So they weren't even keeping my hands that warm. They're great when my hands are in my pockets. Super cozy and warm then, but just out in the air, the gauge is too loose, they're too big, and they're not really doing the job they were supposed to do. So I have 40 grams left of this. So I'm going to cast on another pair. Less stitches, smaller needle size, and just go again. And then see if I can get a pair of mittens out of that 40 grams, and then I could donate these or gift these, I'm not too sure, or I'll just pull them out and make a smaller pair. I really don't want to waste this yarn because it's stunning. So that's my first pair of mitteny mittens for you. Yeah, I didn't follow a pattern for these, like I said, because I have my own mitten pattern in my noggin. But if you wanted to achieve this look, then yes, you could do the Vienna mittens. They are a much smaller gauge. Again, it's a smaller needle, which probably would have come in handy. But I like my mittens to be knit very, very quickly, so I knit them at a bigger gauge. Or you could use World's Simplest Mittens by Tin Can Knits, which would give a similar vibe, but they've got a rib here, but you could just change that. This type of thing is really easy to achieve, and yeah, a staple in the old wardrobe. Right, I've got, I mean, yeah, finished objects and whips. While we're in the glovey section, I'm just going to show you. Last episode I had like 7 pairs of fingerless mittens to show you because my mum is doing a charity craft sale and it's this weekend, which is super exciting. And I have a few more pairs to show you, which is exciting, and because they're a little bit different. All the last ones were very fun colour, hand-dyed yarn, speckled, fluffy, and I wanted to do a few more like chill, neutral kind of ones. First pair is this gorgeous mushroomy brown colour. And I used a strand of Filcolana Arwetta in like a grey and a strand of brown mohair from Knitting for Olive. And it just marled together in just the nicest kind of mushroomy way. I really like these and kind of hope nobody will buy them. So yeah, there we go. That's one pair. And then I did a non-fluffy pair. This pair is just Sandnes Garn Double Sunday. These definitely need to be blocked. They all need to be blocked, but these really do need a bit of a blocking because they look a little bit uneven. I think I'd knit with some of this yarn already, and yeah, I really like these as well. These will look so nice with a camel coat. And yeah, it's just nice to have a non-fluffy option. And then I'm working on another non-fluffy pair at the moment. This is a grey pair. And for this one, so far everything has been no more than a DK weight yarn. I've done fingering how double, fingering a Cirro, fingering a mohair, just one DK on its own. But this, I use an Aran weight yarn. I thought it was DK. I thought it was like a ball of yarn that I had that was DK, but I got it wrong in my head. Turns out it was a ball of Aran, but I'm actually really pleased with my accidental results here because the gauge is really nice and tight and they are quite fitted, they're quite firm and they are warm, and I shortened the cuff length just a little bit, and I think they're really practical and really lovely and fun. And again, I kind of want to keep this as well, but I have loads of this yarn. This is, I think it's called Melissa from Berger de France, which is a wool and acrylic blend, I think. I got it in a D-stash, but using the Aran weight yarn was just so lovely. I have been developing this fingerless mitt pattern to be able to use a 20-gram mini skein. You can't just use a 20-gram mini skein. Or you'd have very loose gauge mittens, but I've been developing it so you can use either 2 20-gram mini skeins held together, or 1 20-gram mini skein with a strand of mohair, or a 50-gram leftover ball of DK. And now I know that you can make a pair with a leftover 50-gram ball of Aran. This I used just over 25 grams, so I'd need to shorten the cuff a little bit. But yeah, they're just basically the best project for leftovers, and they're so fast. Since I last shared them on the podcast, I've had a lot of people asking me if I'm going to write the pattern, if I'm going to share the pattern, and if it's going to be there before Christmas. And realistically, probably not. I would love to write it up, but if I was to do it, I wouldn't want to rush it, and I would want to make it worth its money, because I know this isn't a brand new design. I'm not breaking the mold, it's just my version of a classic design. So I want to make sure there's value for money in there, and I think the value for money in that pattern will be in all the guidance that I can give you into making it out of tiny bits of yarn and how to make sure you don't run out of yarn. And I would include instructions for top down and bottom up. That way, when you work it top down, you can just keep going until you run out, and then you know how much yarn you need for your pair using a 20-gram mini skein. I think there's a lot I can put in there, and I just wouldn't want to rush it or it not be good. So depending on how the next few weeks go, I may or may not get it done before Christmas. I'd have to do it during Vlogmas basically, and we'll see about that. The other reason I might not be able to get it out there or you know, the reason I kind of had to shimmy it aside a little bit is because I had some exciting news the other week. I am going to be published. My design was chosen for a magazine that's coming out next year, and I'm really, really excited, but it is going to be taking up a lot of my time. It already has. I didn't make life easy for myself. The pattern has gone through a lot of development already. It didn't quite work out the way I expected, and I've had to do lots of swatching and lots of checking, and I've still got work to do to keep it under the yarn limit. But yeah, that's taken up a lot of my time, and so it should. This is really, really exciting for me. It's a huge step forward in my career, and I'm just really, really excited, and I want to give it all my all and give it my best to make sure I do a really good job for this publication, because it's very special to me. So that's what I'll be prioritising, but if I can fit in the mitten pattern, then great. In the meantime, I also have another pattern that I need to release, hopefully before Vlogmas, as in next week. And actually I surprised myself. Doing the final formatting of the Maxine sweater did not take me anywhere near as long as I thought it would. I'm getting really quite efficient at that part of the process now. And this is almost at the end of its test knit, but also my test knitters have been so amazing, so speedy, so fast, so like on it with the document, so good, that I think I am ready for final format already. And this is my Midland neck and is technically a finished object. Again, I introduced this in my last podcast, and I'd finished my daughter's version. I don't have my daughter's version with me because she's wearing it today. In the last episode I said that she refused to wear it. Well, she's given in and she's now wearing it all the time. The Monday balaclava that I made her like 2 years ago still fits her, so she's been going to school in the snow with her Monday balaclava on and then her Midland neck over the top, just looking like the coziest little princess in the whole entire world. So proud of her. But I didn't have a finished adult version to show you. I had done my first sample and it had gone quite wrong. Proportions were off. Things needed to be changed, and I started this next version, which I have now finished. So I'll pop it on for the... Oh, I don't want to ruin my new hair. Oh, look, the light has come in. Let's shimmy you around a little bit that way. So here she is, the Midland neck, the cozy accessory version of the cardigan that's underneath, and it's quite blown out, so I'm not sure how much detail I'm going to be able to show you here, but you can see it's like a angled shaped neck, dicky, whatever you want to call it, with a big cozy neck, and it's soft and fluffy, and it's the lovely sideways garter that makes it a Midland. I love the neck shaping around here. This is a real challenge, but it's worked out really well. It's got I-cord edging all the way around, and it's integrated, so there's no picking up of stitches all the way around and working a great big long I-cord. No, it's all part of it. And yeah, I'm super, super pleased. It has the faux seam running along the back here. Just along here, you can see this is made with slipped stitches, and it's got some shaping here as well. And yeah, I'm super pleased. One slight change I have made is that I have found in this yarn combination, which is Filcolana Arwetta held with a strand of the Fibre company Cirro, which is Surrey Alpaca. It's very soft, it's very drapey, and the neck is a little drapier than I would like it to be. I would have preferred it to be a touch closer. When I'm wearing it under my coat and my coat is zipped all the way up, it's like, and it's lovely. But I've been wearing this like in day-to-day life so much. Like I wear it on the sofa, I wear it around the house, and it's one of those, it's kind of like a shawl. You don't realise just how much warmth it's giving you until you take it off. Honestly, I love it so much. It's worn just all the time, and I would really like to make myself another one in a different colour. Maybe like a grey or a beige or something. Is that an army helicopter going over? So yeah, I did adjust the neck a little bit in the pattern just to take a bit of the droop out of it and bring it in close a little bit more. But again, that's something that's really like adjustable for your own gauge as well. And now I've got my Midland cardigan on, shall we put it on underneath the cardigan? Because this is one of the really fun things about these designs together, is that if you think ahead and you have enough yarn, you can make yourself a Midland neck that matches your Midland cardigan and effectively turn your Midland cardigan into a Midland sweater. Can you even imagine? Like, if these were the same colour, then just, my goodness, it would just look like a really funky, like double layered cardigan type jumper situation. Look at that. I love it. I absolutely love it. I just want it to be the same colour, but I don't have any more of this yarn. Ooh. I am having another Midland cardigan made as well, actually, another sample knit for me in like a bright chartreuse greeny colour. And I'm so excited. I'm going to keep this on. I'm just going to keep this on now for the time being, because why not? Oh, I love it. So that's the Midland neck. That is going to be released basically as soon as I can physically make it happen, because I would really like it to be out there before Vlogmas, just so I can fully concentrate on December and making videos for you guys every single day. So excited. Okay, so that is the finished objects. I've got oh yes, I've got 3 whips left. One of them is a funny little guy that I thought I'd share with you because I thought it was sweet. One is a long time whip that I've made some pretty decent progress on since I last showed you, so I thought I'd bring that back. And we have a little bit more progress on my souffle sweater, which I'll show you in a minute. But first of all, I thought I'd show you this just like funny little thing that I've been making. For the craft fair that my mum is doing, she has made these incredible geese. They're like sewn geese. She's done big ones and small ones, and normally they have like a little ribbon around the neck. And she asked, seeing as it is Christmas and it's winter, if I could knit some little scarves for the geese. I've got a picture right here. Oh, that's not going to show very well, is it? There you go. There's the goosey. My mum crocheted a scarf for him. They're so cute, aren't they? So I have made a couple of little scarves. I did have 4, but one of them got stolen by my daughter for her favourite toy that goes with her everywhere, goes to school, goes to everything. And in the morning she was like, I've got to get Pandy's scarf. I don't want Pandy to get cold. And so I haven't got the heart to like take it off her. And now I kind of want to make scarves for all her little toys, which is probably one of the reasons I'm choosing to show you these, because that's what I think they'd be really good for. So they're really simple, just little garter stitch scarves, really thin. I've no idea how long they are. I slipped the edge stitches. I did wee little tassels. These tassels were a bit short and I realised that, and so for this second one I did slightly longer tassels. I've not like blocked or steamed these or anything to make the tassels lie nice. They're just the most fun, satisfying little things to make. I can make like 3 in an evening. And yeah, I use like sock yarn and mohair. So these geese are going to be the most luxurious geese in the whole of the world. So yeah, I just thought they're really fun little moments. And honestly, my daughter, it just lit up her imagination. She just loved having a little scarf for her toy. So if you have small children in your life and you need like a little quick evening project, just, yeah, make some little mini scarves. I used 3.5mm needles. And I ended up doing, I think, 6 stitches I found was the perfect width. This one I've done, how cute is this? Look, they've got like little bobbly ends and a little tapered point. This is like 9 stitches, I think. It needed to be an odd number. So it's a little bit thick, but you know, if this doesn't work for the geese, then Penny has a teddy that this can work for. But yeah, I just cast on and left a really long tail and then like increased either side every other row and then knit. And then when I got to the other end, I decreased and then finished by working like 4 rows of I-cord, binding off and then sewing it down into a little ball. And then I picked up the tail from the cast on, worked it into a little 4-row I-cord and then bent it over and sewed it down to get these little bubbles. And I feel like there is a pattern by Along Avec Anna for an adult scarf that's like this with these little bally pom-pommy ends in this point. I'm gonna have to try and find that out now. Haha, yes. I'm thinking of this one, which is slightly different. You can see it's got these kind of like bally tassels, and it's like more of a but yes, definitely if you want to achieve this vibe for yourself, that is the pattern for you. I need to make myself one of those scarves. They're so gorgeous. It's called the Sweet Scarf. Love it, gorgeous. So there's a fun little whip for you. Next up is my souffle, and I'm going to put it on for you because I did show you this last time, but I have finished a sleeve since then and have done a decent amount on the body, and I can actually put it on to show you. This was my main To Me From Me project. The idea being that it's going to be my Christmas jumper this year. I've got a pair of sparkly sequin trousers I want to wear it with, or with, I've got a nice silky, like black flowy skirt as well. And I never made myself a long sleeve souffle. When I released this pattern, I had a short sleeve version and a long sleeve version, and never did a long sleeve version, and I've always wanted to. So that's kind of where the To Me From Me mail came from as well. Like I knew I wanted to do this, so I thought, well, let's encourage everyone to do this kind of project together. Slide that over, get rid of the sun. Yay, there we go. So here we are. I'm going to angle you down a bit. This is where we're at. The body is actually really quite, we're getting there now because it is slightly cropped anyway. Like, I don't think I'm far off the body, but the main pièce de résistance to show you is my sleeve. This has been blocked, and I'm just, oh, I'm obsessed. Can we with the matching nails? This beautiful, soft, poofy, feminine vibe with this dainty little cuff. I just love it. I'm obsessed. I'm so pleased with it. And this is slightly different to my original souffle because my original souffle, this bit is like see-through, and this is an I-cord edging with a keyhole at the back. I did single strand, like thicker yarn. This is the Rowan, I want to say Alpaca Classic, soft alpaca, something like that. It's basically a blown alpaca yarn, and it's lovely and soft and really light and floaty, but I can just use it as a single strand. And I did like a folded collar, I did some short rows in the back, basically updated the pattern to be more of like a crew neck, so to make it slightly more wearable. So I will be adding that information to the pattern eventually. Again, no idea when, but at some point soon I will be doing this. But also it's quite an easy hack in the end. The one thing I think I've gotten wrong with this version, which is probably why I've slowed down on it a little bit, is I think I have chosen a size too big. I just went straight in with my normal size 4, but actually looking at it, and now I've started to understand my body shape better and like how to choose sizes more efficiently, I think I should have gone down to a size 3, because we have got a little bit of excess fabric in here. It's not too bad, and I feel like it's better with the sleeve on. But yeah, I'm not too sure. I think I could have, yeah, just done with a slightly smaller size, but until it's finished, I don't think you'll fully know. And it actually, I don't think it really matters that much, does it? It doesn't affect the fit. It's meant to be oversized and floaty and lovely. I just think visually, like my original souffle is flatter like this on here. And that's a size 4, so maybe my gauge is just off. I didn't gauge swatch, I didn't test the yarn or anything like that. That's probably what it is, isn't it? It's because I didn't gauge swatch. But either way, I think it's going to be so lovely and so wearable and so festive. And it looks so good with the brown short hair, doesn't it? Oh, I love it. I love it with the short brown hair. Oh, I'm entering my red era. Clearly, I've got quite a lot of red yarn at the moment. I really want to make a red cardigan. Maybe I should make a red Midland neck. I think that's what I should do. I should make a red one. So there you go. That's where I'm at with my souffle. I know it's not the biggest update, but I feel like there were some important notes to make on that. But yeah, I go into a lot more detail on that one in the previous episode as well. Tea break. And so that brings us on to my final whip, and this is quite a long-standing one. This is a whip with no deadline. This is just gonna have to be finished when it's finished. It's a scrappy project with just leftover sock yarn, but I've been really enjoying it recently. I think I've had a lot of quite intense knits. I worked on it a lot when I'd finished my Maxine samples, because I'd done a lot of colour work, a lot of water bottle covers, and I just wanted something simple and repetitive and different. So I picked up my ugly blanket, yay! And I call it my ugly blanket. And it's a term of endearment. It's a term of affection. Like, I'm being ironic. I love it. I love the way this looks, but I also think it's ugly, but in the best way. I traditionally am not a fan of scrappy projects that use loads of random different colours all at once, and I just find it too overwhelming, and I don't really like the visuals of it. But the practicality of this and how it's using up every single bit of yarn and how it's just crazy, and it's like a story of my knits. Like, this was my advent shawl from last year. This was the Stella blanket, Stella quilt. This is my other crochet thing, and then we're moving. I don't even know what these are, I can't really remember, but yeah, it's kind of like a story of everything I've worked on over the past year or two. And I did have a stitch marker in from when I last showed it to you, Progress Keeper, because I'm a good podcaster. So yeah, that is how much progress I've made. It's been quite a lot. And this is on a 3mm hook. She's fingering weight, she's teeny. And these rows are getting long now. So I feel like I've worked on it a lot, but progress is slow, if that makes sense. But also, because there's no like deadline for it, it really doesn't matter. The pattern that I'm using for this, I used from a tutorial from Emma C Makes on YouTube. One of my favourite follows on Instagram. I love everything she does. She makes me want to crochet everything, but she also does beautiful knitting, and she uses a lot of soft, pastel-y, beautiful colours. And her version of this is gorgeous. It's almost like a pastel-y, stripy, stunning, but it's effectively like a moss stitch, but in crochet. And it kind of gives that 1x1 vibe, right? Almost like a sea glass tea type thing, but without having to actually do colour work. I'm just magic knotting everything together. I have had 1 or 2 knots come apart, so I've got some of the like fabric glue that I'll put over the dots if I'm a little bit worried. But other than that, it's just a bit of fun. And the goal for this is for it to be a picnic blanket for the kids. It is nearly the same size as my Sweet Shop blanket, which is lap blanket size. And again, one of my most used blankets. I love the size of it. But I think I just want to go a touch bigger. It's a corner to corner square. So as soon as I think I'm wide enough, I'll then just start decreasing back down again. But it's also like totally like shawl size. Like I could totally just have it as my Joseph's Technicolor Dreamcoat shawl. That's what I feel every time I work on it. I'm like, oh, he loves this coat of any colours. It was, I think I can probably remember all of that. I think that was so ingrained in my head as a child that I'll never forget it. My one and only lead role, narrator in Joseph the Musical. Yay, so there you go. There's my scrappy blanket. And I wanted to show you this again as well because I think it's such a good thing to have on the go at this time of year. Something mindless, something chill, something without a deadline, something that uses up all your tiny little bits, tiny little scraps. Basically now anything under 10 grams goes into this, and that will give me not too thick stripes. There are areas where there are like thicker bands of colour, and particularly at the beginning, of course, but that's fine. But yeah, anything under 10 grams just goes into this bad boy now. And speaking of this time of year and adventy and scrappy and all that kind of stuff, I wanted to get some opinions from you, some ideas from you, because I'm struggling to decide what I'm gonna do for my advent knitting this year. Last year, oh, I should have brought it with me, I had the Fibre Fox advent calendar, which was a fade based on Golden Hour, and I did a What the Fade shawl by Andrea Mowry, but I hacked it quite significantly because that was for 4 different skeins of quite different yarns, whereas I did it as a fade with 24 mini skeins. I don't need to go into that, but I loved that project because like half of it was garter, half of it was brioche, and it was just simple and repetitive. And once I'd gotten the hang of it, I didn't need to like refer to the pattern. So I would like something along those lines again, because I have the Fibre Fox advent calendar again. I wasn't like saying like, oh, I'm definitely going to go for it. I'm going to wait until I see the mood boards, but the mood boards were just like perfection. It's like, it's almost like, it's more like, if last year was golden hour, this feels more like twilight and almost like evening, like moons and stars, and it's like pink and purple and blue, and it goes right through to grey and black. And I think it was the grey and black that really sealed the deal for me, because I'm like, that's so brave, it's so different, and I'm just, oh, so excited to work it up. So I would like to do a shawl again, because I don't make shawls very often, but I'm definitely finding myself using them more and more. I use my pim pom shawl all the time, and I just love it of an eve. I think I am going to, I'm tempted to do something DK weight and hold it double, just so I can work through it a little bit quicker. But I'm also open to fingering weight, and I'm also open to crochet. I think because I've been enjoying this so much, and I've got a lot of actual knitting to do in December, it might be nice to have a little bit of crochet. So I'd love to know if you guys are doing an advent-based shawl this year and what designs you're going to go for. I do have a short list which I'm going to share with you now, and I'm going to start with, let me just bring up my Ravelry library. So I've got 2 Andrea Mowry shawls, which I know is very, very unoriginal. And the first one is the Plumpy. I'm just going to screen record because it's much easier than showing you my phone. Here we go. So the first one is the Plumpy. And again, it's that garter brioche combination. However, the garter and brioche doesn't go across each side. Like the brioche goes to the spine and then turns to garter. And I have already started to make this shawl, but I found that a little bit complicated. So if I was to do this, then I would maybe just alternate between the brioche and the garter and just follow the shaping, but kind of do my own thing. That's a good one. I really like the shape of this. I like how it's like asymmetrical. I thought it looked really interesting and really fun. But yeah, done as a fade, I'm not sure how it would work. But yeah, that's option 1. And then I've also got the Traveller shawl, which I know again isn't very original, but I feel like it could be so fun. The only one with this is that it wouldn't fully like make use of the fade, because you kind of go across one side and then you pick up and do the other side, I think. Is that how it works? Does it tell us about the construction? No, I don't think so. But yeah, that's another possibility. I really like the look of that, although that might be good for my, I've got like a 5 skein, like open every Sunday advent calendar. That could be fun for that. That could be really fun, because those are going to be some pretty crazy colours, I think. So maybe that would be good for that. And then the other one I would like, I don't think I've bought it yet, but I remember seeing this and thinking, oh, I love it. I want to make that one day. And it's not intended to be an advent shawl, but I feel like it could be really good. And it is the Breaking Dawn shawl by lovely Anita Knits. And it's not something I think I would normally make, but I was just really, really drawn to it. It's so gorgeous. It's designed to be a 4 skein fade, so it's fingering weight, but I think it would work really, really well as a 24 skein fade as well. And what I like about it most is just how interesting it's going to be. How each section is a bit different, and then you've got a garter band, and then a lacy band, and a garter band, and then a ribby garter, and then I just think it won't ever get boring, because it'll just like keep changing. So I think that is my favourite so far. I think it could be really, really fun. So yeah, tell me what you think. Out of those three, which one would you go for? And do you have like any other suggestions for me? Okay, just changed my battery, let my camera cool down a bit and drank my tea. So we're coming to the end. That felt very, very quick. And I'm a little bit chilly, so I'm just gonna put my cardigan back on. But I would normally do like a what's coming up from me next kind of section, but I feel like we've covered that so far. And of course, the big thing that's coming up is Vlogmas. Very, very excited. I'm feeling quite a bit more prepared this year. There's going to be obviously lots of vlogging, a few non-vloggy videos as well, just to help me whilst I take a little break and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, super excited for Vlogmas, but I'm not going to hammer on about it because I know it's not everybody's thing. But yeah, it's one of my favourite times of the year, so I'm looking forward to that. So I think that's all I've got to say about what's coming up. Everything else has already kind of been covered. But I am going to finish off with my Instagram saves. My new favourite part of the podcast. I really enjoy this bit, and I've had some really nice feedback about it, and it's a nice way, I think, for me to share other creators, other designers. Obviously, as a designer, I don't really get time to knit other people's patterns that often. I am knitting someone else's pattern at the moment, but I can't show you yet because it's secret until it's been gifted. You can see that in Vlogmas. But yeah, and so I often, like, if I'm doing a podcast, it's mainly just things that I'm working on that are my designs and stuff. So I find this is a nice way for me to share other things without, you know, sacrificing my knitting time by actually making them, because I mean most of my saves are sweaters at the moment and I don't have time. I've got a zipper sweater light on the go at the moment, but I haven't touched it in weeks. But again, that's just like a chilled out thing. Now I've separated my saved into collections now, which is helpful because I'm not scrolling through random recipes and Christmassy things. But you can see I have split it into Christmas, food and knits. So we're just going to do the knits, and we're going to start off with, we're going to go newest to oldest, I think. This sweater. My goodness, I am like, I'm really feeling the coloured cable sweater vibes at the moment. I've not done cables for a long time. I will be working on technically a cabled project next year, my John Arbon sweater, though it doesn't read cables, though the technique is done with cables. But that full over cabled vibe, I've only ever done it once, and I've done the Moby sweater for my husband, which I did last autumn, and I was cabled out after that. But I would really, really like to have another cable sweater in my wardrobe for me. I've got my Eclair sweater, which I love and I wear all the time, but I would like something a little bit like shorter, a bit lighter, and I think that's why I was also drawn to this, because it looks like the yarn is like super light and floaty. What yarn is it? Rico Design Creative Fluffily DK. So that sounds super fun. But this is the, sorry if I say this wrong, Fouette Pullover by Celine Knits. And not only is it cabley, but it's a touch lacy as well. Again, not normally a lacy girl. I do have one lace-based cardigan and it's in this colour, which is maybe why I'm drawn to it. But it has this gorgeous kind of diamond cable thing, and I love this kind of cable that's like a diamondy shape, and then there's something in the middle of the diamond. So in this case, we've got like feather and fan lace within the diamonds, which is just so blooming clever. I'd never think to do that. And also this kind of little eyelet lacy panel down the middle. I think it just, yeah, it brings together cables and lace in a really lovely way. And I think it makes lace really wearable. I don't gravitate towards lace because I find it a little bit too feminine. I don't mind a feminine touch, but I'm not overly feminine in the way I dress. But it kind of brings that light floatiness, but it still maintains its quite classicness in its kind of classic cable setup. It's got like the panel in the middle and a small cable and a big and a small. And I am not sure on the shoulder construction. Is it raglan? Yeah, I think it's either raglan or that like, oh, what's it called? Not a saddle shoulder, but like a, that one that is really popular at the moment, which is something I would also really love to do. So yeah, I absolutely love it. Oh look, there's another version in like a speckly one. Yeah, I do prefer the green, but my goodness, I absolutely love it. It's in development at the moment. She says, I've woven in the end, started blocking, now I just need to finish the pattern. So maybe I'll be maybe I'll be volunteering for a test knit in the new year, who knows. And then next up we have another lacy number. What is going on? Like, who am I? But again, I saw this and I was just like, it's so cute. And it has that, let's watch that again. It has that kind of, it has that lacy feminine vibe, but it's not like over the top, like super lacy. I think it's really cute. I love the sleeve. Obviously, it's got that slight poof, delicate cuff that I was showing you my souffle. But yeah, I just really, really like this one. This is by Vert and Rose, who I think is quite a well-known designer now. Very size inclusive, very kind of feminine, floaty, light aesthetic. Is it anywhere else on her grid? Yeah, there we go. Got it there as well. Ah, there it is. It's already been released. The Anita sweater. Yay! That was released in August. How did I miss that? Oh, and it's in Sunday Fibre Co. Oh, desperate to try some Sunday Fibre Co. I need to get myself to America, man, and just get me some. Oh, I love it. So here you go. Here's some nice photos that we can swipe through. I love that the lace is on the sleeve. It's a raglan, so super chill. And yeah, there you go. That's another little lacy option for you there. Right, back to the saved. Next up, ooh, now, I saved this one for two reasons. One, the sweater, two, the creator. I love String Things by Mel. She's got a YouTube channel and I love her Instagram as well. She makes really nice content that doesn't feel like, you know how sometimes with content creators, they go to that point where it's kind of like, it starts to feel a bit performative. And that's kind of how you have to, it's like it's a weird line because you want your content to be really high quality, but it can lose its authenticity. That's what I mean. And I feel like Mel has really maintained that authenticity in her content whilst also reaching this really beautiful aesthetic goal. So let's watch that again. And I just love the styling that she's done here. The kind of double hem, crisp white shirt, cabled sweater and blue jean. I think I just love this for the styling of it as much as the jumper, but the jumper itself, my goodness. Clearly I'm really in the mood for some texture and some cables, probably because I've just been doing a lot of knit, obviously a lot of garter, but that's just knit. I'm needing something like fun. And so this is the Hayley Genza. I've definitely seen this pattern a few times before. It looks quite intense to me because it's like ribbed and cables, but my goodness, 'tis stunning once it's done. Oh, it's a Sandnes Garn pattern, booklet 2111. That's interesting. Okay, I think sometimes you need to you could only buy the booklets if you buy the yarn for the project as well. I think that might be a thing. I don't know. So you can go to the Sandnes Garn website and find a retailer. Be Inspired Fibres, knit, no frills, Oxford yarn, or tangled yarn. So yeah, I probably could find that booklet quite easily. But yeah, I just, oh, it is absolutely gorgeous. I don't think I'd be able to handle all the twisted rib. I think I'd probably just go for normal rib, if I'm honest. Did Mel do the twisted rib? Yeah, she even did the twisted rib. That's a little bit of sweater and influencer inspiration for you there. We've got 3 left, so I'm going to speed things up a little bit. This guy, this sweater instantly made me think I want to make one for my husband. I love the work of Maxim's here. I think his designs are fantastic. I've made the single malt for my husband and it fits him so unbelievably beautifully. I was lucky enough to meet Max in real life at Unravel and tell him just how much I adore his work. And I just feel like my husband would really enjoy this sweater. This design has been out for quite a long time, I think, but it's only just like, Yeah, August 2022. So I think, I don't know why this has only just popped up on my radar, but I think it looks so fun. I'm also really intrigued into how and where the decreases are throughout this kind of 1x1 situation. Like, I'm confused by it. I'm like, how have we increased here? So I think I'm just as much fascinated by the construction as I am the actual sweater itself. And I have no idea what colours I would make this for my husband in, but I do like the white, grey, and then a colour. I think maybe a green or a purple or something. I'm not too sure, but I would love to make this for my husband one day. Then we have a shawl. Look at this fella. I saved this quite a while ago, 9th of October. This is by Life is Cozy, and it is called the Gooseberry shawl. And I think I was just as much excited by those little balls than I was about the whole thing. I just think it's gorgeous. I feel like it would be a really, oh, croissant, a really fun and exciting knit. Like lacy slash cabley, but not too intricate. I imagine you'd get the hang of that stitch pattern pretty quick. But yeah, I just want lace and texture. My goodness. And then finally, this guy, I saw it and I was like, damn, I wish I'd thought of that. I've now seen a few of these knocking about. There's a Knitting for Olive one, but I really like this one because of the shaping of it. The Knitting for Olive, the scarf bit almost has like a Sophie scarf vibe to it, whereas this is a little bit more thick on the scarf bit. And it's basically a balaclava. It's basically like a balaclava and a scarf like fit together. It's a hood. It's a hood and a scarf. There's no like under the neck bit, but when you tie it round, it gives that balaclava-y vibe. And every time I see Penny wear her balaclava, I'm jealous. I want one. She looks so cozy. I just don't know if I could pull it off, and I kind of don't want to spend the time making one to see if I could pull it off. Whereas at least with this, I'm like, well, it's just a hood and a scarf. And yeah, I'd love to have a go on one of those. Gerda Garn. Let's see. Is it available yet? Oh, it's all in another language. Yeah, pattern available online. Hopefully it's available in English. That would be nice. Things aren't looking good. Sticker kits, sticker bit. Oh, let's try that one. This isn't looking very good, is it? Damn. Right. I might have to ask my friend Caroline about this one, as she is Danish. But there you go. That's not the only one of those patterns I've seen. And also, would it be really that difficult to do? You could just like get a hood and add a scarf to it. I don't know. But anyway, there you go. We are at the end of the episode. Been going for quite a while. Thank you so much for joining me again. I'm going to put my little scarfie on and call it a day. Thank you so much for joining me again. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I will be seeing you again on the 1st of December or the 2nd, depending how long it takes me to edit, with your first Vlogmas episode, and I'll be with you all the way through December until Christmas Day. In the meantime, if you would like to, you could join me over on Patreon, where I vlog every month. Sometimes 2 vlogs, sometimes 1 vlog, sometimes always 2 videos, sometimes 2 vlogs, sometimes a vlog and then a more sit down video. This month I am doing a vlog, literally right now I'm vlogging. And I'm also going to do like my Christmas knitting plans video. We're going to go in deep, we're going to go do some super organising, getting ready for planning type situation. But you can join me over there if you wish. You can catch up on all the past episodes. Everything I've posted is available to you when you sign up, and there's also bonus discount codes. So if you want a little juicy extra discount on the Maxine sweater, head over to the old Patreon. And yeah, I really hope you've had a fantastic November. I'm really looking forward to spending time with you guys one-on-one in December, and I hope you're looking forward to the holidays as well. I know December isn't always a merry time of year for everyone, but if you are looking for some escapism, some coziness, some chilled out knitting real life vibes, then I would love it if you joined me. But until then, have a fabulous rest of your November, and I will see you for Vlogmas. See you later everyone, bye bye.